This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
What's up, everybody? It's episode 117 of Beers in the Lot. Before we get going, just want to quickly remind you that you can check out beersinthelot.com for all the info you might need, including our store with merchandise like hoodies and t-shirts, as well as Patreon and our Discord information. Go check it out at beersinthelot.com. On this one, we talked about Riggs' recent trip to Ohio for his son's tournament. Riggs asked the question, have the Leafs figured it out? And Ovechkin broke the franchise goal record, so we talked about him and his effect on local hockey. So here we go, let's crack those beers.
Riggs, team pour. Were you drinking, Riggs?
First of all, this smells delicious. I'm drinking a beer that I brought back, one of the beers that I brought back from Cleveland, Ohio, on a recent kids hockey trip. This is Duality Citra and Centennial from Masthead Brewing in downtown Cleveland.
The land of Cleve.
It is, yes. Believe land. It is, it is, this is really, really good. Excellent stuff. I actually had it on draft when I was there for lunch, but I had to get a 4-pack to bring back, among other things.
You had to do it to him.
Had to.
Yeah.
Had to do it to him.
Very good. Johnny, what do you have?
I have a Smoking the Bandit Yellow Jacket, which is a Coors Banquet. I got. So for those that are unaware of the reference, do yourself a favor and watch the film. But yeah, you don't like 100% hold up, but like whatever.
I don't know.
But yeah, whatever.
They're timeless.
They're a good watch.
Good.
Like on Sunday afternoon when you don't want to watch NFL and you're waiting for OFBG Sunday Night League.
Yeah.
Smoking in the Bandit might be on.
Yeah, 10-4, man. Yeah. All day. Aaron, what are you drinking?
It's a good movie to watch when you're on a road trip and you're not driving.
Yeah.
When you got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I've got tonight, I gave this one a try because I was picking out singles, getting some beers for the pod, and I got a Saranac Ruby Red Ale with grapefruit. And it caught my attention because it looks an awful lot like the Moosehead Radler can.
It does.
And it tastes an awful lot like the Moosehead Radler. It's an ale. Like, it's not a Radler. Like, it's not the same. But it's good. It's like an all year kind of grapefruit beer. I don't know. It's good. It's not the Radler, but it's good.
Aaron, have you ever had a Paloma cocktail?
I can't say that I have. That doesn't sound familiar.
You would like it as a grapefruit enthusiast.
Yes.
I think you would like it.
Yes.
So it's
What's
tequila.
crazy is that I don't like grapefruit normally, but in beer it's good. I don't understand.
I feel like you always circle to that one way or another.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I love these grapefruit beers. I don't know.
So the Paloma, it's tequila and then lime juice, and then you can either use grapefruit juice and like grapefruit, or like Squirt, which is a grapefruit soda.
Oh, yeah.
And you mix
which
that
I
together.
don't like.
Bang. I'm willing to bet you have a Paloma. I bet you'd be like, because I even
probably would
those
like
every
it
now and then. Very refreshing. So, nice little summer.
I'll give one a try sometime now.
Yeah.
And we are sans Daniel tonight as he welcomes his third baby. He and Mrs. Daniel. His name is on
Daniel.
Twitter. Fuck it. He and his wife are welcoming their third over the weekend. So congratulations to him. We'll give him the night off. He probably needs the rest. He can have the night.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Mrs.
What's going on then? So you. So John, you're watching. I can see it on TV there. You're watching looks like the wrap up of Isles and
Calgary.
in Calgary. Yeah, how'd that go?
Well, it's still 3-3 and
still going.
in OT and what did it end on your screen?
No, I was just. It looked like they were about to. I don't know, head to the locker room or something.
Oh no. So
I can only see a quarter of your screen. So
yeah. OT 3-on-3 right now, and Sorokin's just kept him in the damn game. Like the Islanders, I'm confused by this Islanders team. They have some weapons, and I just think they're poorly. I don't want to say coached because I think some of that Barry Trotz-ism is still kind of like cinched into this team's like kind of blood. But like I'm not a fan of the way they play the Islanders. They have some skaters on the team, and I said it like weeks ago when Barzal signed. I'm like, he must really just like being a New York guy. Like, that's the only reason I can come up with the fact that he signed with the Islanders. And their GM is an 80-year-old just nut job. So Dobson ended it, by the way.
Dobson ended it.
Who has Islanders in the pool?
I think I have Islanders, actually.
Yeah.
I've been pulling some wins in.
Who has Calgary?
Calgary would be Riggs's.
Yeah.
Riggs's team, yeah. Islanders are actually one of my top win teams. They've got 7. They're right up there with Toronto with 7. John, though. Oh, John, you're running this show. Vegas with 11 wins.
Yeah, I picked that pretty early too.
Yeah.
I knew that. I'm on that Vegas train.
It's a long season though. Lots of games left.
Yeah, I mean, you're already starting to notice some of the teams that are like for real, not for real, kind of just like moving along. So, American Thanksgiving fast approaching, obviously. Best holiday of the year. So, we'll see what happens in terms of playoff position, and that magical threshold's usually within 4 points. So, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes, yeah. Well, Riggs is back from a trip to Cleveland with the kids over the weekend, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Some interesting stuff happened going on.
Does Cleveland rock, Riggs?
Yeah, actually it does. We went out a night early, and my parents came out too, so they could watch their grandson and hang out with us and stuff. So we went to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on Friday morning, which was awesome. I had been there years and years ago, so it was cool to like go back and actually like take in some of the stuff and understand more of the history before walking in. And then like having my dad there, just because he's been in music so long, he could like guide us through all the important things. So that was cool. And then the next morning, we went to A Christmas Story house, the location of the exteriors and half of the interiors. Some guy bought it off of eBay like 15 years ago or something and turned it into a tourist attraction, much to the chagrin of the people in that neighborhood.
I'm sure.
I gather that they do not like having the tours going through that house, the museum across the street, and the massive gift shop sort of cat a corner to.
So what's the parking situation?
House.
I'm curious because like a neighborhood.
They have two. They have one lot in between the Christmas Story house and the Bumpuses house, because they own the Bumpuses house too.
Yeah. Goddamn Bumpuses.
We're the dogs, right?
The Bumpus dogs.
It's the dogs.
Bumpuses. So they have a parking lot there, but it's kind of small, and then it's just street parking. So yeah, I don't think the neighbors are too keen on that. I can't imagine what it's like down there after Thanksgiving. Like between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, it's probably crazy down there. But it was cool. It's because you kind of grow up watching the movie, and then like the Turner networks do the 24-hour deal on Christmas Day now, so it's on all the time, and it was cool to see. And the way that it's set up, it's not like a typical like stuffy sort of museum thing. They've put things out that you can pick up and touch and reenact scenes from the movie and everything, and they actually encourage it. They want people to take pictures and videos of it, obviously, because you can promote social
and it's free
media-wise
advertising at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So they have like a bowling ball. They have unloaded BB guns everywhere. They have leg lamps everywhere. They have, if you're able to, you can get underneath the sink, like the little brother Randy, and when he's scared, and everything. And
Dad's gonna kill Ralphie.
They have a bar of soap up in the upstairs bathroom. And
Little Orphan Annie decoder
and a
rings.
Notepad. Yep, a notepad with the decoder ring up there and everything. And you can mess with all that stuff. So there's a telephone upstairs too, that if you pick it up, you hear, like the mom's
What's his mom?
Yeah, like talking, and,
I'm
the
that
yelling
guy for
from the
hockey stats and movie quotes.
The yelling from the other end. Yeah,
what? And then you just hear him. Oh, what I do?
Yeah. So it's really cool. Like, and then like in the museum, they have all the authentic stuff, right? Like behind glass and everything. But yeah, it was cool. Good time.
So I have to kind of ask really quick before we touch the rest of the Cleveland trip. I know you and I had a very interesting conversation when I saw on YouTube that they are having like he's like 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever age he is now.
Yes.
And he's coming back home.
Yes.
Like,
who?
Oh my God, shove it.
So,
Ralphie's coming back. I have no desire to watch it.
Yeah, it's like he
no thanks.
Goes home and like he has his kids there on Christmas or whatever.
And you get the feeling like dad passed away recently, so he's doing it. Yeah.
My own personal feeling on this, and I was talking to one of the other dads from the team about it, is like, no desire to watch it. It's going to suck. How can you recreate the magic of the original film? Like, you can't. It's impossible. The other thing is the staff at the house never mentioned that movie once. Never mentioned it
intriguing.
Once. Not endorsed.
And no one that was there brought it up. Like none of the other patrons.
Wow.
So yeah. So
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
That's kind of funny.
Nobody cares.
Because even watching the trailer, it looked like there were 1.5 billion callbacks to the first film.
But isn't it like direct to streaming? Isn't it only on HBO Max or something like that?
I think
so. It's not even going to be in theaters or
the modern equivalent of straight to video.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
I think like, well, I mean, we had this conversation a little bit with like, Top Gun a little bit. Like, unless you're literally doing a summer blockbuster where like it makes more sense because of what you can hear and see and kind of feel in the movie theater with the jet planes. And whatnot, like why, like that's not something I would ever probably see in theaters. Like what, why?
Right.
I don't.
Well, and the original Christmas Story movie didn't do well when it was released in theaters. It only became popular after it came out on home video.
Exactly.
On VHS and beta.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So like, it became part of, what kids grew up with, at home.
Imagine the cat that pitched at the TNT Turner, like quarterly sales meeting, like, oh, we got to figure out some Christmas programming. He had like the VHS like in his messenger bag. He's like, I have an idea. Like we're going to play this for 24 hours. And they were like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. And then they just have done it. I feel like they've done that I can't even remember when they started. I feel like they've been doing it for 1 billion years, right?
Now, right? Like it seems like it's always been that way.
I don't think it started playing as 24-hour marathons. Mm-hmm. Like I definitely remember when it's like, oh, it's on. We got to watch it. We got to tape it. We got to set the VCR to record it or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely remember that. And then it seemed like at some point they're just all in on Christmas Story and just we're gonna run this all the time.
Do the two of you, I'm just curious, like, and I'm not jumping too far ahead, obviously, because we fully endorse Thanksgiving. We want to give it its run. But like, are there 3 Christmas movies you watch every year? Like Halloween movies, I feel like I'm in and out every year because it depends on time and whatnot. And like, I feel like this year, like I haven't just with me moving and everything. Like I feel like I got into zero routines in general. But like, Aaron, do you have 3 Christmas movies you always watch?
There's a Halloween movie too. Well, not a movie, I guess. It's the Garfield Christmas special.
Okay.
We watch that every year. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that show.
That is good.
Because Halloween is Garfield's middle name.
Exactly, yeah.
Halloween Field.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Christmas movies. Yeah, there's Christmas Story. There's the Charlie Brown Christmas special. We always got to watch that.
Spectacular.
And then there's another one. We watched this cartoon version of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas that me and my brother have watched since we were kids or whatever. So it's got like mice in it, and they sing a song about a clock. And I don't expect anybody to know what the hell it is, but it's one of those traditions. Everybody's got a tradition. So yeah, there's a couple other movies that are like, if they're on, then or if I think about them, or if somebody wants to watch it, then I'm all about it. But the third one doesn't come directly to mind, I suppose.
Riggs, what about you?
Definitely A Christmas Story.
Yep.
Christmas Vacation. I actually watched the end of it last night because it was on right before I went over to OFBG.
Oh wow.
Nice.
It was I didn't want to watch football. I forget which hockey game was on. Might have been like Canes Leafs or something.
Yep.
And then I was like, I can't be bothered with this stuff right now because we had just driven 5 hours back. Like, so I saw in the thing that Cartoon Network was premiering Christmas Vacation like yesterday. So I popped that in, and then I don't know. It's probably like a tie amongst the Charlie Brown special, the Rudolph, the claymation.
Oh yeah,
Rudolph.
yeah.
See, that's in my top 3
Yeah.
because of my boy Yukon Cornelius.
Yeah.
Oh,
Him and I are
that's
dogs.
a different one though, isn't it?
No, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Is it the
Reindeer.
same one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, so they do that,
I think there's
and then
2
there's
of them.
another one.
No, there's
May
like
not
a
be-
whole. There's like a whole.
there's a slew of them.
Yeah.
series of these things, but he's definitely in the like.
He
the
is. Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
That's the.
like, yeah.
I think that's like, I don't know if they call it correctly, but that's like the flagship one, like the one they
Yeah.
always show, and that's the longest one. It was like made in like 63 or 64 or 65, like right around
They're
there.
all like the 60s.
Yeah, they're all made in the 60s. But me, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Really love that. I really like Christmas Story, and then like I'm like half torn because I really like the Jim Carrey Grinch. I think it's just great. Like I like the way it's done. Little Cindy Lou aged very well. Yeah, the movie still stands up.
I like the
very
animated Grinch. If you're gonna like
The animated Grinch,
bringing
yeah.
up the Grinch, I mean,
No, I agree.
I'd
Like,
take the animated
like the
over
tradition
Jim
is,
Carrey's even.
yeah, the tradition, like with some of those things, like very good. I agree. But I'm like, the reason I like that is like, I like Jim Carrey, like Dumb and Dumber, Pet Detective, that stuff. So like, I see a lot of the characters in that Grinch. I know he kind of went off the reservation a little bit right after, but yeah.
Home Alone's up there too. The original,
Yeah.
The
Home
first
Alone
two,
movies are good.
the first two are
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I love those like Jack Eichel is Marv memes. Those are always my favorite thing.
He's got the perfect look for
Yeah.
Marv.
There was actually, I remember that big thing because it's like almost a year since Eichel was traded to Vegas. So the funny thing is, when Elliot Friedman went to interview him in Buffalo, like before he sold his house, he actually sold his house to like Paige Thompson, I think. But anyway, he the only piece of like hockey memorabilia in the entire house of Jack, like no USA hockey stuff, no BU, none of that shit. You wouldn't even know. He had a picture of like someone did fan art of like him and Marv side by side, and that's what he had to display.
Oh man.
And I was like, what a weird cat. But good for Jack Eichel. Like, he's doing well. So the surgery worked.
Yeah, that's actually kind of big news, right? Is that
Yes.
he's the first one to receive that surgery, and now like a couple other guys have gotten it.
Tyler
And-
Johnson in Chi-Town did it. And I feel
Right.
like somebody else is going to or did.
Somebody with a recognizable, like really recognizable name too.
Yeah. Well,
But
in
I
other
forget, yeah.
in other sports, it's been like approved and done, and for some reason, and I understand part of it. Like in the CBA, I guess the way it was previously written, some of the language is strongly worded against like players just seeking their own outside opinion. Like it has to be consulted with the owners and medical doctors of the team and yada yada. And since Jack Eichel, kind of like good on him for standing his ground because he looked at the data from the artificial disc replacement versus the fusion and was like, this is a quality of life thing for me, not just a hockey thing. Like,
Right.
I think both avenues would get him to play, at his elite level, but like the artificial disc replacement is a better long-term solution because once you start getting fusions, it just gets, more compounded and all that.
Yeah, I say good for
Yeah.
him, honestly. Like, it was a bunch of drama at the time when it was going down, and it was all like, oh, whoever could control the media narrative seemed to be having the public on their side or whatever. Like it was kind of weird at the time, but I in hindsight, yeah, good for him. Honestly, I think that the right outcome happened from his perspective.
Well, it's going to be somewhat historical too, because I think there are a lot of people that are equating it to Tommy John surgery in baseball, where it's basically going to be something that's going to become pretty common. It's going to extend players' careers beyond, a few seasons maybe, where they were dealing with problems or whatever
Right.
it was. So
We were talking about it in Discord. Even it's like, I wonder how many players didn't make the show,
Right.
didn't make a career out of hockey because of this injury, and now that's not going to be a thing anymore.
Well, think of like Bobby Orr back in the 70s with his knees.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, if they had like maybe if he played 10 years later, hypothetically, with some of the advancements they were able to make,
Who knows? Could have been a
who
different
knows?
story for his career. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and even some of the guys in the 80s and 90s, like you're saying, they didn't have some of the surgeries we have obviously today. And medical advancements every 5 years, it's like significantly further than it was the previous. It's a given.
Sure.
I think of like someone like Mario with his injuries, all the back stuff he dealt with.
Yeah.
There were other health problems too, but like the back was significant for him, especially in the later years when he came back. The early Sid years, he couldn't even tie his skates. It was that bad. But there are tons of other players. I think of goaltenders with their hips.
Right.
That's the one thing
Yeah.
I've been thinking more and more now is we play with some guys that like they've had hip issues lately or they're getting a replacement. Like I know one specifically. Like so it comes to mind because I'm just chuckling at him as he was explaining it to me the other week. So yeah.
Yeah, that may be the next sort of major area for hockey players specifically is how do you extend the lifetime of the hips? Because that's where a lot of the forces, all the rotational forces are, all of the sort
of hits,
brute forces of skating are, so it's just wear and tear. And
I mean, imagine how much longer Jeff Skinner can do mohawks up and down the ice if he could figure out his hip issues.
No, I think he just needs a good he needs a skating coach.
I'm fine with mohawks as somebody who like used to teach them.
Yeah, but there's a time and a place.
Sometimes I've seen him skate up the ice like we're joking about, and I'm like,
yes,
it's like wide open and he just mohawks. I'm like, buddy, if somebody's barreling down on you, I get the mohawk to open yourself up to like, get the pass so you keep moving downhill up the ice. But I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you? Stop. Stop it.
Like you're not protecting the puck. You're not doing anything except just skating sideways for no reason.
he could literally be on a breakaway and probably he would go 10-2 twice at least.
Going on one side, switch to the other side.
Exactly.
Because Eric and I live in Maryland, I wonder if at some point when sports betting becomes legalized in our state, we can place bets on this. We can bet on the Mohawks Jeff Skinner is going to make in like tomorrow's Sabres game. Like, what's the over under on Mohawks for Jeff Skinner? Like, I'm placing a futures bet 7,000 Mohawks before Thanksgiving.
That's
cash
awesome.
Day 3 of the season. Like, cash it.
This is kind of funny because Brando, former guest of the pod and friend of the pod. He gives me shit all the time because I guess I do it and I don't realize that I'm doing it. And then he keeps on telling me, he's like, nah, you would have done way better on that play if you'd been skating sideways. He gives me shit all the time for that. So funny.
That's good. You'd be way better if you were skating sideways. It's great. So are the Leafs fixed? Seems like they're okay now.
They got some wins.
I have a theory. I have a theory on them personally.
Yeah, they have 7 wins.
I mean, they got some injury problems in net, but it seems like they've kind of figured it out. Like the top 6 have at least.
I think that team gets up for whoever they play.
Mm-hmm.
And then your Arizonas of the world, because they got smoked by them somehow, some way. Because it's weird. Like I almost see, so like Pittsburgh, they're 7 straight losses, and the Pens, it's like little situational issues. It almost looks like they're a little sluggish. So I don't know what their issues really are. Like I have a few things, but like the Leafs, they do have net injury issues, but like in terms of all the rest of their personnel, they're fine. So for them, it's kind of like, what is going on? I don't know. I don't think the Leafs bottom 6 is all that strong. I just don't. Like they have Zach Aston Reese. I'm sick of hearing in some circles he like drives analytics. Get that guy out of here. I don't want to hear that.
There's no way he does.
He doesn't like. There's a basic eye test, and
if
never
he did,
passes
he wouldn't be in the bottom 6.
They never have the puck when he's on the ice.
Yeah. You don't.
Like, so there's no way he drives anything.
That's why I never understood it.
He probably can't even drive a car. So whatever. Wah.
Well, my favorite, they tried to spin it, like, oh, we're getting, Dubas and Shanahan and Keefe, we're getting a really good player, at below market value, yada, yada. And the thing with Zach Aston Reese, he wanted to stay east. He didn't want to go west. Apparently, like, Edmonton offered him a contract, not a PTO, a full contract. And he was polite and he just said, I want to keep east for, I guess, personal reasons. So whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And the only team in the east, because they have a lot of familiarity with him, they were like, we don't want to sign you. Pittsburgh let him walk. And Toronto ended up giving a PTO. I think he's making like $850, which is much better than I make, but the Powerball's tonight, so I may be able to talk shit later this week. We'll see. But like, I just like, I don't know. That's so weird to me. I don't know. Zach Aston Reese sucks. Mulligan's okay. I like Simmons. I think he can bring something, but like,
they don't play him.
They scratch him, then they don't. Then they send him back down, and then he doesn't skate with the AHL team, which that's his right. Like, I think, like, whatever. And then they have Robertson, who's like in this weird circle. They scratched him a few times. He played last night. They won. I think he played Saturday. I don't remember. But yeah, it's just weird. I don't know why they do it. I don't know if it's just Keith maybe doesn't like the way he plays, or it could be like a personnel thing. Like, I'm not a big fan of him. I don't know. Riggs' boy Sonny Milano played.
Yeah,
he did. I made the mention to Riggs last night about it, like on Ovechkin's record break. Was it the breaking for Gordie Howe with one team?
Yeah.
Franchise goal
I actually do think that's kind of cool about Ovechkin. Like, Yager did it with 1 billion teams. Nothing wrong with that. Gretzky did it with technically 4. Howe did it with Whalers, Detroit. Yeah.
2.
Ovi's going to do it with 1.
Yeah.
In a salary cap era, which is crazy.
Right. Well,
crazy to me.
Well, so the thing about that initial long-term contract that he signed, at the time, everybody was like, that's stupid. Right. And Uncle Ted, for all of his faults, said, this is going to be the standard for generational talent in the NHL. You watch. And then what happened? Like, all these guys are signed for,
8-year deals
10
plus
12 years, right? Like, whatever it is. So that's what's going to enable that is even in the salary cap of free agency era, they're going to give generational talent long-term deals at the appropriate money and keep those guys around and sell tickets and sell merchandise. And oh, by the way, have players that can, help you win and help you win championships and that kind of thing.
Well, and the funny thing is, like Ovechkin, there's always been talk too with him. And now it's kind of with McDavid, and I kind of agree with it. Like, what the players signed for isn't what the max they could technically get, because a player in the CBA is allowed to get 20% of total salary cap for the team.
Right.
No player is signed for that. That would be insanity, obviously, if somebody actually did, because then you literally couldn't formulate a team. Like, look at Edmonton. They have 2 nuclear weapons and they can't, they still have issues. But like Ovechkin, and I've said this, like, he's one guy who probably does deserve it, not just for what he's been able to do for, like, the Caps with the cup and just driving revenue. But if you look at like hockey in the DMV area,
exactly,
like, that's an Ovechkin effect. And yes, there are kids that like Backstrom, there are kids that like Carlson, there are kids that loved Holtby way more than they did Ovechkin. That's totally fine. But like, it was an Ovechkin effect.
Yes,
it was butterfly effect.
It created a pipeline of generational fans, right? So the people who were younger when Ovechkin came in the league and they were already Caps fans, or they became fans because he was there, now they've had kids and their kids are watching and or playing now, and they're starting to get older now, and it just kind of snowballs from there, right? And it creates a long-term fan base. So, and then the cup always, when you win a championship, it always sort of
huge ripple effect. Yeah.
It builds that foundation, right? Like you're always going to have a foundational sort of fan base that's there because of that championship.
And you're going to gain more fans that will turn into long-term fans, because say what you want about bandwagon fans at the time, they turn into long-term fans. Not all of them do, but a good chunk of them probably will.
Yes,
good percentage.
That's huge. It's always good.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm happy the Caps, like, it's a viable fan base, and also too, like I said, like it created a boom in the DMV area for hockey. Like, it wasn't just, there's a lot of people that either play roller or didn't play hockey, or and now the Caps are getting more out into the community, doing some of the roller hockey initiatives and street hockey activities with deck hockey and stuff. That's great. Like, because then you're really creating kids that either, pick up more ball hockey, because that's becoming a bigger thing because it is a little more accessible than ice. And then, on those same deck hockey rinks that the Caps have helped revitalize on some of them, you can do roller hockey on it too. So it's twofold. So it's really cool. And roller hockey's always had a somewhat decent, impact on the area. They used to have pro teams here years and years ago, the Washington Power.
And out in Winchester, they had the semi-pro team, the Generals.
Yep.
It was a big deal. Like, when I started playing, it was roller. It was all roller. There was a league. I forget what it was initially called, but it ended up being called the Southeastern Street and Roller Hockey Association. Okay. And like, when we were kids, like I think we were like 12, 13, 14 years old. We were like organizing our own friends as teams and then having our parents sign us up as teams.
That's awesome.
And like go play in this league and stuff, and compete for whatever and everything. It was really cool. And at that time, right, a bunch of the rinks around here were they were open air, covered open air. So like Frederick's second rink was like that, right? Wheaton was originally like that. And so most of the places that we played were, the concrete pad in the summertime inside of the, the whatever you want to call it, the pavilions.
Pavilions, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially it's a big big pavilion, right, with lines painted on it.
Yeah.
And so, and we had a great time. It was awesome. And then I don't know if you guys remember the what was it, the NHL street thing that they used to do?
It's NHL Breakout, because
Yeah,
I actually
that's what
have
it
some of
was.
those jerseys because my dad would take us down to that. Because I would do roller hockey in the spring and summer. Oh,
They would shut down like
So fun.
right
right on the mall there.
A couple of the cross streets right on the mall in between the Capitol and the Washington Monument, and they would put up these like inflatable
They were like
roller hockey rink things,
2 feet
right?
high, 2 or 3 feet high. They were the black bumpers, and it's just inflated.
Yeah,
And they used ball. It was great.
it was awesome, and the NHL put it on. It was like a tour. They went to a bunch of different
Every city.
cities, and it was an open tournament. So if you had a team, you could sign up and go play.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just really cool stuff.
I actually kind of wish the NHL would bring some of that stuff.
Right? That's why I brought it up.
I know, but I know they do like local stuff. So maybe the NHL's like, hey, we'll worry about some of like the league-wide initiatives and mechanisms. Like, you're responsible for your own growth. Part of me likes that, because then like it tasks the owners with not just going like, okay, like I just have this team. Like, it's like, no.
Yeah.
Part of being an owner in the NHL and, owning a team. And then also too, like, players have certain things in their contracts, like,
yeah,
not just like Ovechkin to do like player appearances and stuff, but like some of the, fourth and AHL guys, it's like you have X amount of player appearances or marketing type things you have to do every year. Like a guy like Ovechkin and Backstrom, maybe yours is all like commercials, which
it's funny. We're talking a lot about like Washington area stuff and like Ovechkin. I'm watching the Edmonton Washington game right now, and they've been matching Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, and Sherry against Draisaitl and McDavid and whoever else plays with them.
Whoever else.
Well, that's literally who you need to. Whoever else plays with them. Exactly.
And the other person.
Ovi just took a run at Draisaitl at center ice. Like,
Draisaitl's a big dude.
Holy moly!
Like, every time I see him, like, he's a big man.
I just had to mention that.
I do like Ovi. He still like kind of mixes it up a little bit.
He just plays the same game. I mean, he's changed a little bit, but it really, as far as the physical stuff, it's kind of the same.
Yeah. I mean, there was a stage when he was a big ruffian, but he got that out of his system.
Did you guys see there was a goal that the puck went through Campbell's glove? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, he I don't remember which Dallas player it was, but they got the zone and then dropped it back to a guy who was coming in over the blue line, coming in hot, and just wound up, pointed to the ceiling and just blasted it. And then Campbell went to make a routine glove save, and then it just, from the video that I saw, it looked like it went off the edge of his glove and just went through, went past him or whatever, because it was just a super heavy shot. But they showed the replay and slowed it down, and then they did a close up on his glove, and there's like a kind of a large gap in some of the webbing, and I think that puck went through. So he looked at his glove after the shot, even what the hell? I thought I had that. And then
this is 2 days ago. I'm gonna watch. I'm curious what equipment manufacturer uses. Let's see. Oh yeah, he had his stick to the rafters. Holy hell, dude!
It was a blast, dude.
I don't know. So guy comes in the zone rigs, does like the Gretzky curl out. Yeah. And then he just lays it on the ladies' tee, or he's still very high point, but he lays it into. I mean, he had a good 9 feet. He's moving into this puck.
Oh yeah, and it full clip too.
Oh, it really looks like it did go through his glove. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think that went through the fucking glove. Oh my god,
that's wild.
Crazy.
Maybe he's like Artis Urbe and does his own pads. Oh shit, it did go through the glove.
Yeah, you can see the gap in the video. They zoom in on it.
He uses Vaughn.
Oh, that's not a good
Wow.
look for Vaughn. If that was a Brian's glove, it would have.
Yeah, you're right. That was Brian. That was a Brian's glove. That wouldn't go in.
And that'll do it for episode 117. Thank you so much for your listen. We appreciate your support. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe and all that good stuff on your podcatcher. And more importantly, tell your friends about our podcast, especially your teammates and other folks that are in the hockey world. Let them know about our show, and that'll help us out a whole lot. Also, don't forget to check out beersinthelot.com. That's where you can find all the info on our merchandise store and our Patreon, which is how you can get some of the stuff that's only available to those supporters like pint glasses and koozies. And like I say every week, check out our Discord, beersinthelot.com/Discord. You can jump in there and join in the conversation. We've had a couple new members in the last week. You know who you are. I appreciate you listening to me and coming to check us out. Thanks. And again, a big thank you to you who have listened this far. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next week with another episode. Catch you then.